But Matt, we want to jump right in on what looks like it's going to be the hottest news, which is a true challenger for Kepa coming into the club from Rennes with Edouard Mendy. You reported just recently that about 18 million pounds should get the deal across the line, and he has the approval of Czech and Lalishon. I guess maybe because we kind of maybe do you feel that deal is really close to being done, and if so, was it just a very recent development, or how long have the club been tracking him as an option?
The club have been tracking him, I think, since last season. I think Czech and Lolly-Shon have been looking at various options for a while, and he's clearly one with their Rennes connection that they'd know an awful lot about. In terms of how, I'm told it's actually been closed for a good week or so now. I don't think there's a lot to do on it. I just think it was a case of they were getting Havertz done. There's probably a few little bits and bobs to sort out, but I think this one's been in the pipeline now for a little while, probably since I went on vacation a few weeks ago. So, it's looking like the one. And the really interesting thing for me is that this is Petr Cech's choice. I mean, obviously, Lampard gives his approval. It's joined up thinking, but from what I'm told, Lampard was happy to put his faith and trust in Cech for the goalkeeper. I think different options were brought to the table with obviously different values and budgets. But in terms of what Chelsea wanted to spend and in terms of the proportion of their full budget that they wanted to end up putting on a goalkeeper, this is Cech's guy, and there's probably no better person to have choose the goalkeeper, I'd suggest.
Yeah, no wonder Frank was willing to put his trust in one Petr Cech. I think everyone's immediate question, Matt, is what does this mean for Kepa? I mean, there's been, I think Petr Cech has come out in recent weeks and said that he wants to see him, Kepa succeed, and that he hopefully will stay and fight for his place, and that there is a true goalkeeper on goalkeeper battle this season. Is that what you're kind of hearing?
Well, look, I think it will become a little bit clearer once the Mendy signature is fully complete. I mean, Kepa's people, I've been talking to Kepa's people the last week, and Kepa's people are adamant that he is happy to stay and fight, and that he actually would relish the competition. So I think from his perspective, I would be surprised if it prompts any sort of request to leave from his side. There hasn't been really any interest in him. I mean, we spoke about this the last pod I did with you because of the COVID and the financial impact, and because he's the most expensive goalkeeper in the world. I mean, he's very, very, very difficult to get out. The fact as well that Chelsea ended up deciding, rather than going for an Oblak or a very, very expensive goalkeeper, would suggest that they think there is an extremely good chance that Kepa will stay and that it will be a battle for the number one. Otherwise, I think if they really thought that they could get rid of him or that they were really going to try and push him out, they might have gone for a more expensive goalkeeper. So, look, at the moment, it's hard to give you a definitive on that. But if you were to ask my opinion will be is that both goalkeepers will certainly be there for the first part of the season, and that Mendy probably will start as number one, but there will be a battle there. And look, Kepa's people are ultra positive about him wanting to stay at Chelsea at the moment. And they also actually, funnily enough, talk well of how Frank has tried to handle the situation, in that he dropped him, he brought him back, so he offered him another chance. He didn't just drop him and then leave him out. And also I'm told that Frank has been sympathetic to the fact that, Kepa recognises that his form and confidence was in a bad place. And I think they have spoken. I don't think the relationship has broken down there.
Yeah, so it seems like the other thing that might be happening is, we now have an option where we've gone in with a more affordable keeper in Mendy, gives us the option to potentially have a Kepa Rebound. But do you think the club is also viewing this with an eye on potentially the next summer when, someone like Donnarumma comes up at the end of his Milan contract, where there may be some better options available if Mendy doesn't pan out, if Kepa doesn't improve, that we're keeping the options open for next summer too?
Yeah, it keeps the door open, doesn't it? It means that Chelsea haven't put themselves in an even more difficult position if, as you say, an opportunity to sign one of the really top goalkeepers in the world comes up, or if Mendy doesn't quite work out and he's not quite the class they were hoping for. Look, I think they'll be signing Mendy because of the Czech Lolishon recommendation. and because they clearly feel he can, I think at the moment they are signing him thinking he can step up. And a bit like Cech was in a way, although Cech was younger, not come as a renowned world number one goalkeeper, but build into that. I think that's what they're signing Mendy for. But it does keep the option there. I mean, there's no way they can get an Oblak or a Donnarumma or someone this summer, I don't think, with the budgets and everything else they want to do. So if that opportunity arises, then this time next year, then they can still look at it and still potentially do it.
Is the Mendy deal, at least from what you're hearing, mostly about having someone with different attributes to what our current goalkeepers have, or is it completely just we have another option that is a competitor for the shirt?
They wanted a tall goalkeeper, I know that, and that sounds really obvious. That sounds such a simple, obvious thing for a goalkeeper. It sounds like the kind of thing my 5-year-old son could say. But because of the problems they had on set pieces, and their two most successful recent goalkeepers, Cech and Courtois, are very tall goalkeepers, both sort of 6'4", 6'5". You know, I think Lampard, having played with Cech, values having a tall goalkeeper. I think Cech and Lollichon recognise that because of the problems on set pieces, they do need someone who they believe can come off the line and dominate their area, which I think everyone would agree is not Kepa's strongest point. Look, I'll be totally honest, I haven't seen a lot of Mendy. I've in the last 2 days, I've spoken to people both on the Chelsea side and in France who have seen an awful lot of him. They tell me he's good with his feet, that he can distribute the ball well, which they definitely need because of the style of football that they play. So I think he does bring something different. I'm told he's a good lad. I'm told he's a confident lad. So I think from the height perspective, he definitely brings something different for them, and something both through their defence and the goalkeeper last season they were really struggling on.